Democrats in Congress finally going on the offense, speaking plainly, loudly, and clearly, led by Democratic Congress members like AOC, Jasmine Crockett, and in the Senate, Sheldon Whitehouse. Let's show you what they're doing. Also, MAGA Republicans don't know how to react, and they're exposing their true pro-oligarchy agenda during their public appearances because Democrats are pushing back, pushing them into a corner, and MAGA Republicans exposing what they're really trying to do with Project 2025. Let's take a look here. Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Let's play this clip.
Whatever the case may be, or they can go and say lock up Hillary Clinton because they're talking about a server that she used, and we know the recent conversations about Trump and the server that they're using as it relates to his transition back into power. It is amazing that they seemingly always want to make up laws to lock up anyone that does not see the world through the orange flavored glasses that they do. But I just think that America really needs to have a reckoning and decide, are we going to be a country that is okay with the lack of morality, okay with the lack of family values, okay with the lawlessness, or are we not? There is no middle ground. We either are or we aren't.
Next up, I want to show you Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, and here he talks about really Donald Trump was going to appoint Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General. Seriously? We now seen the report. We know what he was up to. That's what the Republican Party is supporting and covering up. Watch this. Play the clip.
Before you even got to all these really extraordinary findings, you had a guy who Donald Trump was proposing to be the top prosecutor for the United States of America, whose only experience with criminal investigations was to be the subject of them. Before you even get to the conduct, that alone should have been disqualifying. So to your earlier point, the reflection of this on the judgment of Donald Trump is perhaps the most remarkable part of this whole story, setting aside all the grim and salacious details.
Yeah, and Senator, that extends to other Trump nominees. Pete Hegseth for defense, Tulsi Gabbard. This unbelievably crazy nomination was made by the same person who's making these other nominations.
Yeah. And some of the...
And I love that AOC's been doing these kind of ask her anything type videos that she's been making. Really good stuff right here. Here she is talking about the MAGA Republican oligarchy and that it's here already. Here, play this clip.
Oh, I don't think we're witnessing the start of an oligarchy. I think we are fully here. You literally have a completely unelected billionaire who has just taken over and paused government funding to specifically take out provisions regarding China and other areas that pertain to him. You have billionaires who run news outlets like Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post, billionaires that run the LA Times, completely interjecting into their editorial boards and manipulating what's being written in them. We're here. We are here. And we are going to witness very unprecedented moments come January.
And here AOC is again talking about how Trump wanted the debt ceiling lifted, so we won't realize his tax cuts for the rich will explode the deficit. Watch this.
This is actually what this fight is actually all about. This is why Elon is involved in this right now. He's not tweeting this out of nowhere. He's not coming at this out of nowhere. The Trump tax cuts are expiring next year. They are trying to lift the debt limit now because reauthorizing the Trump tax cuts next year are going to explode our federal debt. It's going to explode our deficit again. And they don't want to lift the debt limit then to do that. They want to lift it now. That's why they're...
Because that'll draw too much attention to what their tax cuts Democrats are doing. In this way, if they split it up, it's less of a story.
And that's why Elon's getting involved. His net worth has, I believe it's almost doubled since the election. He is trying to further explode his net worth. And he is trying to leverage everything from income from federal contracts to reducing his own personal taxes. This is what this is about for him. Trump has a different set of priorities for himself. He's trying to line his own pockets and figure out his own political preservation in this moment. And sometimes those things are aligned and sometimes they're not. And I think right now we're in one of those friction points.
It's sort of the definition of an oligarchy where even though these guys aren't these, I mean, Trump's not even in office yet. His like billionaire
mob
daddy,
enforcer, basically.
yeah, is like controlling whether the government will stay open or not.
Here she is again answering if Elon Musk is really the shadow president. Play this clip.
When Elon tweets something and when Trump tweets something, Republicans don't know. I said this earlier. Republicans don't know who their daddy is. Like, they don't know which one they need to be listening to first, and it's scrambling them. But it's not a joke that I think Elon poses real political problems for Trump and arguably may have more, at least rival his power and influence. And that's going to be a problem for Trump. They're both bad, but there you go.
Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. Hey, I gotta be honest with myself, right? It feels like I have to choose between having a great night or a great next day. That is until I found pre-alcohol. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Every time I have pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice a difference the next day. For example, after a fun night out with friends at like a local bar or wherever we go, I could still get up the next morning and hit the gym. And I'll admit, I was skeptical at first, but I tried it at a dinner party with some friends. The next morning, I felt great, ready to tackle the day, ready to do more videos here at the MeidasTouch Network. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I get the hype. Plus, with their GMO technology, ZBiotics is continuing to create probiotics that tackle the challenges of modern living. Go to zbiotics.com/Meidas to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use code Meidas at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you are unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Meidas and use that code Meidas. It's MEIDAS at checkout for 15% off.
I mean, right, powerful stuff right there. Now, contrast that to MAGA Republican Congress member Tony Gonzalez, who goes, no, we need Elon. Elon's like our prime minister. No, he's not. Elon Musk isn't our prime minister. What are these MAGAs talking about? We don't want Elon Musk. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Here, play this clip.
Bipartisan deals negotiated and led by the Speaker of the House. What role exactly is he playing here?
It's kind of interesting. We have a president, we have a vice president, we have a speaker. It feels like as if Elon Musk is our prime minister. And I spoke with Elon a couple of times this week. I think many of us...
Unelected.
Well, unelected, but I mean, he has a voice. And I think large part of that voice is a reflection of the voice of the people. Once again, a 1,500-page bill, how does that pass the smell test? It's absolutely wrong. It's what's wrong with this place. So we have to get back to regular order. The other part of it, too, is while House Republicans were fighting over this spending bill, guess what Senate Democrats were doing? They were ensuring that President Biden got his 235th liberal judge over the finish line. That's why it's so important that House Republicans stay united, stay laser focused on delivering on a President Trump agenda next year.
But Republicans...
And by the way, this is Elon Musk saying that he hates unions. He thinks unions shouldn't exist because Elon Musk says that unions create a lord versus peasants dynamic with the union leaders as the lord and the members as the peasants. Play this clip.
I agree with the idea of unions, but perhaps for a reason that is different than people may expect, which is I just don't like anything which creates kind of a lords and peasants sort of thing. And I think the unions naturally try to create negativity in a company and create a sort of lords and peasants situation.
Tesla factory workers in California are working so hard they're passing out on the production line.
Yeah, no, Elon. You're describing yourself and the American oligarchy. I mean, y'all see what's going on there? Like, the Lord Peasant dynamic is the Elons, the Trumps, the Bezoses against the workers. You see what they're doing right here? By the way, Donald Trump's out there posting about conquering Greenland and taking back the Panama Canal, which was never ours, it was a lease, but stealing Panama Canal and conquering sovereign nations. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene posting things like Canada and Greenland should have never been given away in the first place. I have no clue. Just take a look at this. What in the world is she even talking about here? But now on Fox, as Donald Trump's talking about conquering nations, like they're having guests show up, like the chair of the Republican Party, and they're like, yeah, well, this is a good idea. We're going to have to buy it. Greenland will cost $1.5 trillion, but a good acquisition. Here, play this clip.
I'm sure we're about to get to the bottom of that. Why is he interested in Greenland?
Well, I think from a national security perspective, as he said, certainly a place that is very rich in minerals and, is geopolitically important for him. And it's a conversation that we want to have with Denmark about being able to use the resources up there.
Yeah, it's going to cost about $1.5 trillion, but it probably will pay off. Next.
And then earlier on Fox, they had a guest with who says that, or the Fox host goes, Greenland is not for sale, but sometimes they aren't until they are. Here, play this clip.
We say Greenland's not for sale, but sometimes things aren't for sale until they are for sale. And when you look at Trump, I mean, this is a guy who bought Mar-a-Lago for $7 million. He knows how to cut a deal.
By the way, while all of that's going on, there was that breaking story from some great local journalism, how the Texas Republican Congresswoman Kay Granger was missing since July. No one knew where she was, but no one was asking questions. MAGA Republicans covered it up and pretended that she was still around for her constituents. She was not. She has dementia. And she is in full-time, round-the-clock care because of her deteriorating mental condition. She lived at a dementia care home, and video from her surfaced. This is from earlier in this year. You see her right here, but this was before she kind of disappeared. Play this clip.
And we avoided a massive, ominous measure. In total, we increased defense funding and made target cuts. We also maintained our legacy under my colleagues on the other side of the aisle want to remove. Overall, this bill honors our commitment to our veterans, strengthens our energy security, hold agencies accountable, support our farmers and ranchers, and makes our transportation system safer. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Now, I do think it's worthwhile, too, though, quickly to showcase a senator-elect from Utah, Senator-elect John Curtis, who does say, look, I'm going to push back against Trump. Here's what he said. He said, I want to highlight him here. He said, I don't think Trump has a mandate. Play this clip.
Some of your colleagues, your future colleagues in the Senate, that say he won, he's got a mandate, he deserves, everybody that he's chosen. So in other words, rubber stamp.
Yeah, I heard that from my son, by the way, at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, he said that?
He did. He said, Dad, I'm a self-described, I took the red pill. So he kind of set that up. And my response to him was a couple of things. One, in kind of a joking way, I said, I did get more votes than him in Utah. Does that give me a mandate? But let me come back to this concept that I think me speaking my mind and me being upfront makes the president a better president. And right now I'm interviewing these nominees, and I think people forget the advice part of advice and consent. I can't advise the president if I haven't thoroughly talked to these people, if I haven't investigated everything about them, if I haven't learned their strengths and their weaknesses. And I think I owe that to the president. And I think if the better job I do, the better president he will be.
And here he is again talking about what his constitutional responsibilities. Again, Republican, Utah Senator like John Curtis, but I think I showcase him here because this is what he says. I'll probably disagree with him on a lot of things, but here he is speaking sensibly. At least play the clip.
But I've also seen you've taken heat, especially online, social media, from supporters of the president say, what's wrong with you? Just get in line already.
Listen.
Why are you asking questions? Why are you saying you have concerns?
Anybody who wants to give me heat for doing my job, bring it on. This is my job. It's my constitutional responsibility. These same people are the same people who would have said earlier, you need to take power back from the executive branch. You need to do your job. I have heard that from these very same people, and that's what I'm doing.
And well, there you have it, folks. Doesn't that video give you a little room for hope, I think? Well, it gives me a little more than a little room. That's what I want to see. What AOC is doing, what Jasmine Crockett's doing, Sheldon, just take your message out. Be strong about it. Call out these MAGAs. Call out their support of the oligarchy. You know, MAGAs were all like, oh, Democrats are eating cats and dogs, or eating your cats and dogs. No, they weren't. But Republicans are literally eating your lunch, right? The oligarchy is literally taking away your paychecks. They're looting and they're pillaging. It's a real threat. It's not an imaginary boogeyman. It's what's actually happening. So folks, let's focus on the real threats, what's happening, what we can do to stop it. Don't buy into the MAGA boogeyman, okay? Democrats, be clear, plain, repetitive, over and over again if you want to get your message out. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.